What's up, guys? Game Fiend, Fan of all games here, and I'm back with another drama script this Saturday. And on this drama script this Saturday, I'm going to review both themed shows on the Wednesday Night Wars. NxT had their first part of the Great American Bash, and AEW had their first part of Fyter Fest. So I'm going to give a thorough review of both shows, match per match, what I liked, what I didn't like. But first, overall in the ratings category, AEW loses, which is very, very surprising to me. AEW only got 748K to NxT's almost getting 800K. NXT had 792. So very surprising. Even after watching both shows, I'm still surprised that NXT won. So moving to both shows, I'm gonna go match per match. So let's start off with AEW. AEW's first match, give me time because I'm gonna be going back and forth through both my monitors, so give me some time here. AEW's first match was MJF and Wardlow versus the Jurassic Express. MJF comes out, cuts a promo, very entertaining promo in my opinion, and takes a shot at NXT, saying that this is a ratings war, which it is. Then he goes up to bring his record, how he's undefeated technically in singles and he hasn't been pinned or submitted, which is true, which I keep going on with MJF. If wins and losses matter in AEW, which they keep going at as is when the wins and losses do matter, well, if wins and losses matter and MJF has the second best or best singles record right under Cody, why hasn't MJF gotten his heavyweight title shot, or if anything, a TNT title shot? If wins and losses matter so much, which AEW has been saying since Double or Nothing last year, their first show, since then, wins and losses matter, wins and losses matter, wins and losses matter. Well, MJF has, or is tied for the best singles record, and yet still not even number one contenders match for either the TNT title or the World Heavyweight title. So I don't know. I don't know if maybe they're planning it for All Out, or I don't know, they have to build some type of story, because there's not even, as of now, there's not even a story for MJF to build off of. The only story that they did was, in recent memory, is him against, the Jurassic Park people. Sorry, Jurassic Express. So, not really any major people with the title. He did the thing with Cody already, and he's had little to no interaction with Jon Moxley. But after my little stunt about that, let's go on with the match. Overall, to me, this was a good match. Memorable spots, the all four Nick up, Shawn Michaels spring flip, they all get up at the same time, or that spot was good. Overall match was good. The spots were good. I didn't expect that many spots, especially in an MJF match. You really don't get that many acrobatic spots. Then the back and forth with Wardlow and MJF, thus costing them the match at the end. The Wardlow throwing Marco stunt into Jungle Boy, that was memorable. The close pinfalls, it was overall a good match, and Wardlow took the pin. So MJF is still undefeated. He's never been pinned or submitted. Wardlow takes the job, so it saves MJF. Jurassic Express gets a push. So where where do we go from there? Is the point I'm trying to make. Where do we go for Jurassic Express, and where do we go for MJF and Wardlow? I would still say it's too early to break them up. So Jurassic Express has momentum going on into next week's show, and then they could build off the feud between Wardlow and MJF, since Wardlow took the pin. And then on NxT's first match, it was the fatal 4-way for the number 1 contender for the NxT's title match, which I didn't think you would put this as the first match on the card. I thought this would be somewhat of a middle match, not first match on the card. But Nox winded up winning, so now she's the number 1 contender. And I feel like when you have a number 1 contenders match, and thus it was the first match on the card, it indirectly has a foreshadowing of what's gonna happen in the last match on the card, because the title was not on the line between Sasha Banks and Io. So it's like, well, they can't have the champion lose, because then that hurts the champion's momentum and going against her title match. So it was like a little bit of foreshadowing. I would say hard foreshadowing, because like if you have the number 1 contenders match before the championship, well, there was no NXT championship match, women's championship match. So it feels like if you have that, you was like, well, now the champion, you booked yourself in the corner. It was like, well, now you can't have the champion lose, because if the champion loses in a non-contender match, then the number 1 contender should beat the champion, right? So I feel like they kind of booked themselves in the corner. But we'll get to that match when we get to it, the main event of NXT. But all in all, it was a good match, elimination style. Nox wound up winning, which was a surprise to me. Looking at this match, I would think that Mia Yim was gonna win, but no, they gave it to Tegan Nox. So we're gonna shift back over to Dynamite. Hiraku Sheeta versus Penelope Ford for the AEW's Women's title match. Best match of Penelope Ford's career. Hands down, I did not know that woman could go until this match. I thought this was going to be a 3-minute squash match. And it started off that it had that feel to be a 3-minute squash match. But Penelope Ford actually put in work in this match and showed off to be a heel, and had sometimes carried the match. So that was very, very good. Both women put everything out on the line, but Sheeta wound up winning. But that, I would say, rewatch that match, and that was Penelope Ford's best match overall career. Even though it ended with a loss, that was still a great match. I think, to me, I would put that as match of the night. I would put that for the AEW. So I would put that as match of the night. And now we go on to back to the Great American Bash. We have Only Lorcan versus Timothy Thatcher. This turned out to be a technical match, which I didn't expect it to be. And Thatcher won by submission. But if you I feel that this match would have been better if both stars were pushed more. This was a match that was ahead of this time. If you go back and watch this match, it was a very, very good technical match. An extremely good technical match. But because both superstars are still very, new and upcoming in NXT, it was like this match happened before both of their times. Like if this match, let's say this match wasn't against these two people. Let's just say this match was Daniel Bryan and technical superstar. Let's just say if this match was Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn. It would have got more appreciation because it's two household names that you actually know. Everyone knows Daniel Bryan, everyone knows Sami Zayn. So, but because it was these two, I feel like it didn't get the appreciation that it deserved. But it was overall good technical match. So I would give it some credit. I would give that match a 3. Dave Meltzer gave that, I think, a 1 or a 2, or I don't know why he gave that match 1. It was a very, very good technical match. And then we're gonna head back over to AEW, where we had Cody versus Jake Hager with entirely no build up to this match. Jake Hager, remember 2 weeks ago, Jake Hager just showed up after Cody successfully defended his title, and they got into an altercation. And then Cody says, "Oh, I know what you want. You want a title match? All right, I'll give you one at Fyre Fest." And now we're here. So, how am I expecting Cody to lose when you give a half-ass 2-week build? It would have been horrible if Cody would have lost this match. To me, from a story building feud, out of all the matches, this one had the least build. This one had the least amount of work. This was like, whatever. It felt more as like, we need all titles to be defended. We forgot about this. Let's just throw this in here, and we need to give Cody a fearsome challenger. Oh, look, Jake Hager. All right, let's do it. That's how I felt. That's how I felt. And also, these two wrestled before once. There was a main event for these two on Superstars a while back, like 5 years ago. So they did extra for this match. There was a tail of the tape. Jake Hager's 4-1 to Cody's 11-1. So, like, how does Jake Hager get a title shot before MJF if both MJF and Cody have basically the same record? So they've had a tale of how long each other have been held in submission locks, and obviously Jake Hager wins with more minutes because one of his finishers is his ankle lock. So of course Jake Hager would win that stat. They had a reach stat. Of course Jake Hager would win that stat. Jake Hager is taller, and thus his 9 times out of 10, if you're taller, your reach, your wingspan is more. So that was like very odd. It had a small hint from the Edge versus Randy Orton greatest wrestling match in the world feel, like the start of it with the whole extra stats that they just dug up and decided to put in this match. Overall, it was an okay match. Very physical, a lot of suplexes, a lot of holds. No Brandy Rhodes interference, because Cody, for some reason, has that in almost every one of his matches. He stopped that. Now that I'm thinking about it, ever since he's been TNT title, he stopped that. There hasn't been any Brandy outside interference. So I'm happy that they stopped with that farmhouse. Some tech holds, some slams. Jake Hager did the Hager bomb. He did the belly to belly. All his signature moves was displayed. It was like, watching a typical Jake Hager match. Cody did his typical thing. Threw his belt. He took his belt off, threw it away. Threw it on the stage. I would give this match a solid 3. The fadeaway stunner or RKO that that Cody caught Hager with was good. But all in all, Cody still winds up champion. So looks like Cody's gonna be TNT champion for a while. It's very for a Cody match, it was above average. But for a regular match, I would give it a 3. And then we go to what I'm going to call the joke match of NXT. Rhea Ripley versus Aaliyah and Robert Stone, and if Ripley loses, she has to join the Stones. This was your standard typical joke match. I feel that this match should have ended 3 minutes sooner than it actually did. This match was very, very too long, in my opinion. For something that it was obviously it was a joke match. Came off as a joke match. It felt like a joke match. It was a joke match, and Rhea Ripley put her submission on both parties at the same time, getting them to both tap out. But to me, it looks like Robert Stone was tapping out, and it looks like Aaliyah was hitting Robert to tell him to stop tapping out. But you could do either or, but it looks like a double tap out. But it looks like Aaliyah's trying to hit Stone to tell him to stop tapping out. But either way, the match, whatever. That was a joke match, and that's just to, I guess, give Ripley some more momentum as she attempts to get back into the NXT title hunt. That's what I take from that match. And then we go back to AEW Private Party versus Loud and Proud, with randomly Matt Hardy in Private Party's corner, that was never explained unless I missed something on AEW Dark. I don't get why Matt Hardy, and V1 Matt, mind you, because apparently he's control of all his powers or all his swings. So V1 Matt with Private Party versus Loud and Proud. So what I've noticed with AEW tag matches is they're always full of spots. I guess that's their theme, because the only somewhat technical tag matches they've been has been the ones with Hangman and Cody. Sorry, not Cody. Hangman and Kenny. But I guess though they're not really flashy. Kenny can be flashy when he wants to, but he doesn't do it all the time, which is makes sense. But a lot of spots in this match at Private Party and Loud and Proud. It was okay-ish. Private Party picks up the win, so they've been having momentum week after week, so they pick up the win. So now they're number one contenders. But where does that put Jurassic Express? Because they just beat Warlow and MJF, but Private Party just beat Loud and Proud. And we didn't get to the main event, which was Best Friends versus Hangman and Kenny versus Best Friends. So it's like, where does Jurassic Express fit? And is this match going to take place after Fyter Fest? Is it going to take place later? So I don't know. Where does that put Jurassic Express? That's all I know. All in all, that it was an okay match. I would give that match another 3. And then we head back to NXT. We go to the strap match between Roderick Strong and Dexter Loomis. This was a very, very slow match. Funny spot with the strap. So Dexter goes to hit Roderick, and he misses and hits the steel steps, which I had to actually rewind because I thought he actually hit him with the strap. No, he missed and hit the steps. And then this was an awkward, well, not awkward, but yeah, I would say awkward spot where Dexter pulls Strong into the steps, but instead of Strong going into the steps, he steps up on the steps and flips over it, thus making a smarter decision than to go into it. It was okay. Then there was another tease about Dexter putting Strong into the trunk of the Viper, which the Viper trunk is OD small. I don't even think he would have fit in the trunk. Then Bobby Fish got involved. That really didn't affect anything since Dexter was still able to put him in his sleeper submission, but using the strap for more leverage, and Strong tapped out. So yet Strong still is going to live in fear against Dexter because Strong lost. It was alright. I would give that match a 3 as well. It was okay. And then we go, okay, I'm gonna go to NXT because main event time for NXT. So we have Kenny Omega and Adam Page, but before that, we had a promo with Tag and Brian Cage. Taz and Brian Cage came out and did a promo, and then Taz took another shot at WWE because about how WWE never tested and AEW does test all the time, and how AEW doesn't have a sloppy shop, which low-key indirectly is true. But I think they pushed back the Brian Cage and Jon Moxley match to, I want to get this. And Brian Cage come out, they cut a promo. They now announced that the Brian Cage and Jon Moxley fight will be pushed back to another AEW specialty show, Fight for the Fallen. So now it's interesting to see if WWE is going to make another themed show 2 weeks from now to react with for this one, because the only reason why I have a Great American Bash is because we have a Fyter Fest. I guarantee you, if there was no Fyter Fest, there wouldn't have been no Great American Bash. So now, 2 weeks from now, we gotta see if WWE is gonna use up one of their names for the good shows in 2 weeks from now to counter react this new show for Fight for the Fallen. So they announced Fight for the Fallen. It's going to take place in 2 weeks. Main event: Brian Cage, Jon Moxley. We all know why. Due to stipulation with COVID and Renee Young, you know why it has to be pushed back to 2 weeks. So now we go into the main event: Best Friends versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. The soccer mom entrance was good. That was one of the best funny entrances in a while. The soccer mom entrance. So overall, it was okay. It was a great match. The ending, I guess, shows what's going to happen in the future. Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega retain the titles, so I guess they face Private Party sometime in the future now. But FTR comes out, tries to celebrate with a beer. Obviously, Hangman Page takes the beer because he drinks. Kenny Omega takes the beer and he does a cheer, but then he pours it out because, as we all know, Kenny Omega doesn't drink. FTR took that as offense, and then they wanted to fight Kenny Omega, and then the Young Bucks come out to save Kenny Omega as per usual. And then that's the end of week 1 for Fyter Fest. Overall, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Fyter Fest. And let me just head right back over into NxT's main event. Now, here's a small issue I had because I watched it this morning. The NXT. So the last match, if you want to watch the stream, the last match was Roderick Strong and Dexter Loomis. So if you want to look at it on the stream, it ends at 1 hour and 9 minutes. The next match, the Sasha Banks and Io match, does not start until 1:28. So a 20-minute in that 20-minute gap, it was nothing but promos. And I feel like they could have spaced that out throughout the show a lot better. I shouldn't have to be sitting watching promos and backstage, mini brawls for 20 minutes. I mean, if you think about it, that's like an episode of a 30-minute TV show, a sitcom. They're usually 30 minutes. And then, 8 minutes of commercials. They definitely could have spaced that out a lot better to sit there and watch 20 minutes of promos and backstage brawls. So that was my only issue. That really killed the momentum for me during the show. But then we have, Io versus Sasha Banks. Title's not on the line. This was a great match. I would go back and watch this match. I would say for NXT, the main event was the best match on the card. A lot of back and forth. A lot of, obviously, some outside interference from Bayley with her hawking the horn on the Viper, to her distracting the ref with throwing one of the tag belts in the ring, getting the referee to take the belt while she does a forearm to Io. Surprise appearance from Asuka with her showing up and then giving the miss to Sasha. Did not see that coming. And then, Io picking up the victory. Because like I said before, if you crown a number one contender for that belt, you can't have said champion lose. Because then why would the number one contender lose to someone that just lost in a non-title match? So all in all, great match, great ending, right person won. Obviously, you're not going to have Sasha be quote-unquote new NXT talent. I know she's not new, but she didn't make it she's not on the two main shows. So, thus, another good match. Overall, I enjoyed AEW more. AEW was faster paced. It seems like everything in AEW is leading to somewhere. As in NXT, this felt like this was rushed. Like the only match that had build to it, like thoroughly thought out build to it, was the Io and Sasha Banks match. Everything else just seemed to be thrown together. And yeah, you probably could say the Roderick Strong and Dexter Loomis, because Dexter threw Roderick Strong in the trunk at the last NXT pay-per-view, so you could go back from that. But overall, both shows were good. I enjoyed AEW more. I'm still surprised that AEW lost in this week's ratings. But this was week 1. I'm definitely going to go over week 2 because, the main event for week 2 for NXT is Adam Cole versus Keith Lee, both titles on the line. And I don't know what the main event for NXT is going to be since they changed it. Let me check real quick. Because, whoops. Okay, so week 2 match card for Flyer Fest. Chris Jericho, Orange Cassidy, Lance Archer versus Joey Janela, Nyla Rose versus To Be Announced, Colt Cabana and the Dark Order versus SoCal Uncensored, FTR and the Young Bucks versus the Butcher, the Blade, and the Lucha Brothers, and Kenny Omega and Adam Page versus Private Party. Oh, so back-to-back duty for the tag champs, since we can't do Brian Cage versus John Moxley. Okay, so that's how they fixed that. All right, that was that. And NxT's second match card